friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nora, and on today's video we are going to cover some amazing designs that you can do on Palia with the new landscape and Terraform items. Also, if you are somebody who doesn't want to use glitches, or maybe you're on the Nintendo Switch, rest assured today's video is going to have some Switch friendly and glitch free options in case that's what you're interested in. So the first tip today is creating a log bridge with the new campsite tables, and this is done by simply just doing the gourmet bowl glitch. The gourmet bowl glitch is actually Nintendo Switch friendly and super easy to do. All you're going to need is a gourmet bowl placed on top of the item that you're wanting to glitch, and then you're going to multi-select it with Alt on your keyboard and grabbing with left click on your mouse. Next, you're just going to drag your table into place where you want it and then just drop it on the ground. If you're on the Nintendo Switch, the directions for multi-select is going to be a little bit different than the PC, so I have more information on how to properly set this up in my pinned comment. So my goal for this bridge is to create a water landscape, so we're going to do a couple of more camping tables, and then I'm going to glitch in some capital sheet tables into the ground. Obviously, if you're a Nintendo Switch player, the capital sheet tables will not be a realistic option for you because you're going to need a hotbar to be able to do the cancel placement, which is overall how you do this glitch. So an alternative that you could do is either raise up your Terraform by 2 levels, because you can actually directly slide these tables on top of the capital sheet tables, which I discover later in this video, and you can still get that water effect like my build has, or you can use the bellflower rugs to create a water landscape underneath the table. But as you can see, the tables glitched together create such a nice, realistic, aesthetic looking bridge, and this is why I wanted to showcase how to build it, just because I feel like this looks better than using the log cabin benches. Plus, with this method, you don't have to worry about ghosting the benches in the middle of the water. So now that I have shown you how to create the bridge, we're actually going to have to tear this down real fast because we need to put water underneath of it, but I just wanted to cover each step slowly as possible, that way you can follow along with no confusion. Sadly, this next method for our water is not going to be Nintendo Switch friendly, but for PC users, it's really easy to do. What you're going to do for your first step is choose a small paver and place it on top of a industrial shelf. Next, you're going to pick up the paver and slightly drag it underneath the industrial shelf, but we're not going to actually place it. Instead, we're going to cancel its placement with an item in our hotbar. And what this does is cause the paver to be ghosted. Next, as mentioned in my written directions, you're going to multi-select the bowl on the table, and this is going to grab the entire item lot, and then you're going to drag it on top of the paver and place it. The last step will be directly picking up the paver underneath the table, and then you're going to drag the paver to where you want to do your river or pond. But as you can see with my demonstration, my table placement was not accurate and the table sunk too far in. So we went ahead and did a slight adjustment, and this is where you're going to want your shelf if you want some of the grass clipping through. I personally don't like this look, especially when you're creating a river, because I feel like the grass clipping just gets way too distractive. However, I do love this look for a pond. The second shelf placement is for a slightly raised up table, and this is what I use for my rivers, and it's just my overall preferred look. So these are the measurements you're going to need for whichever style that you prefer the best. I went ahead and used some items on each side of the shelf just so y'all had kind of a reference of how tall each shelf needs to be. So now that we have that long water tutorial over with, let's go ahead and start building our river. All you're going to have to do is just drag and place your tables into your desired location, just like what I wrote in the written directions. Sadly, the negative with this build is the fact that you're going to have to drag and drop these tables one by one until you figure out where you want your river to end. So just know you'll be here for a hot minute, but the results, in my opinion, are totally worth it if you really want to go with that water landscape sort of look. So I still have a ways to go with the water glitching, but we're going to go ahead and place our bridge that we worked on in the very beginning of this video. So just like seen in the beginning of this video, we are going to place our gourmet bowl on top of the camp table. And the great thing about this item is it can be directly placed on top of the capital sheet tables. So you don't have to worry about syncing the items whatsoever to make this bridge, which is why I think that this is such a better option than using the bench like we did on my last video. And just like the beginning tutorial, all we're going to do is just drag and place our tables until we complete our bridge. So now that I have the bridge completed, we're going to go ahead and start working on extending our terraform and trying to make it look as natural as possible. As mentioned on my last video, I love the terraform pieces because you can clip them together, so don't be afraid to rotate them and play around with their layouts to get your desired river shape. I also love using the terraform to frame out our river because this actually means we're going to be using less towards our item limit. One piece of terraform counts as one item, so when you're using a ton of rocks, that's going to count towards your item limit and add up pretty quickly. So this is going to save us on our item limit so we can really detail our forests. There's honestly no set way to create your terraform. I'm just placing it until I like the desired angle and look of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this all in, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes when we start working on our incline tutorial. So another tip I have for you, especially if you want to add some more dimension to your builds, is by creating these inclines using the new camp shelf. The camp shelf is wonderful because you can clip them together, and I've seen people make some amazing pathways with them already, but today I want to turn them into little steps and inclines for my build. Not only is this glitch really easy to do, but it's also switch friendly, and you're just going to drag and drop these, and then once you get to the second level, you're going to place them slightly on top of each other, and this is going to cause an incline-like effect. So here is how my steps finally look. I did have to make a small adjustment with my terraform placement because there was an awkward gap, so you may have to redo this a few times to get everything to line up exactly, but in my opinion the steps are definitely worth it and they add so much to the new terraform items. So this next idea is something that I actually learned from Fleur's channel, and this is by floating items. We're going to use a similar method, but I'm going to try this with the bench because I think that this could make a really cool lifted bridge. So what you're going to do is place your paver on the very first industrial shelf, which is near the grass, and then you're going to pick that paver up and then bring it up to the second shelf, but we're not actually going to place that paver. Instead, just like the other glitches I have showcased, we are going to cancel it with an item in our hotbar, and now this paver is ghosted. All that's left to do now is place the bench on top of the paver and then re-pick the paver up and place it on the ground, and now you have a floating item. This method is usually used to float books, but I thought that this could be a really cool idea, especially if you want to clip the terraform in a little bit, and you can create this really nice lifted bridge. My only negative though is that you can see the pavers on the ground, but an easy fix for that is just by throwing the giant log that we just got with this update, and it covers all of them. And just like with my capital sheet tables to blend out our water and get a clean edge, I'm going to drag this terraform up just a little bit to hide any imperfections, and for any unwanted gaps in between this terraform, we will place a bush or a rock. Overall, I think this makes a really cool bridge, and if the empty spaces in between the shelves don't bother you, I think that this could look really nice maybe on the beach landscape for a tropical build. This next idea is probably one of my favorite discoveries with the new terraform, and that is the fact that we can lay these logs across terraform. It's kind of tricky to line up at first, but you're just going to slide the terraform pieces into the log and then replace it as needed. Obviously, I really want to make sure we can walk across this, so stacking 2 of the smallest terraform pieces will ensure a clean walkway. And then from here, if you see any edges that you don't like, I would suggest placing a bush or a rock or even some trees. That's usually what I do if I see any imperfections. Today's last idea is by creating something for Switch players. Many of you were expressing the fact that you were having trouble syncing tables, but you still really wanted to have some sort of a water feature on your plot. So today I am showcasing an idea with a pond build, but keep in mind that this idea can easily be turned into a river build. I'm not gonna lie though, I kind of like this way more than the river that we did because honestly, rivers have a lot of layers and edges to them, so the lifted feature kind of gives it a more realistic realistic look. And of course, just like always, we're going to push this Terraform up and blend the edges as needed. But all I'm doing is just the simple gourmet bowl trick. I'm clipping the tables together to create a really nice pond shape. And then we're going to blend everything out with bushes and decor. So after showcasing all these ideas, I got to thinking and I wondered how all of this would look together as one giant plot layout, and I think that it actually came together really nicely. Sadly, I did run out of resources to decorate the rest of the terraform, but I'll definitely keep grinding away for some tree seeds so we can decorate the rest of it. Honestly though, I'm really tempted on making this one of my new forever plots, so I may continue adding onto it as I think that all these ideas today combined together make such a cool, unique forest layout. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you want to learn how to place the bookshelf on the water to create a really nice boat feature, I actually learned how to do this glitch from Emma, so I will have her channel linked in the video's description. Emma is also the same person who I learned how to glitch water together from, so if you haven't checked her out before, I would highly recommend it. She creates probably some of the most beautiful Palia builds I have ever seen. Anyways, before today's video ends, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me as a creator. Just your support in general means the world to me. I hope that today's video not only inspired you, but also answered some questions y'all had. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and of course, as always, have a horrible day, and I'll see you very soon.